And welcome everybody inside the Clark Athletic Center. My name is Brendan Glasheen. We have women's volleyball. The Beacons taking on the Rhode Island College Anchor women here tonight. If the Beacons get a win tonight, they would secure a share of their 8th consecutive Little East Conference title. That's the regular season, of course, and they would also pick up a 6th consecutive win. As for the Anchor women, they have not won a Little East game yet this year under head coach Leo Bush. We have plenty to get to. We'll preview Julia Murphy and her stellar season and break down this all-time series between the Beacons and Anchor women. We'll step aside for just a moment, come back with us on the Beacons Broadcast Network.
What separates UMass Boston from other schools is the fact that a large percentage of students commute. For me, it takes 2 hours each day to go to and from school, but every second has been worth it because the students that come here are serious about learning, they value their education, and understand where it'll take them in the future. This is what UMass Boston means to me.
Welcome back inside the Clark Athletic Center. The Beacons have simply dominated this matchup, but before we get to that, let's get to Julia Murphy. The senior from Canton, Massachusetts, has been stellar for the Beacons so far this season. Murphy is 2 blocks away from setting the Beacons' all-time record for total blocks. She had 11 kills last year against Rhode Island College, so the kill game has been there. The blocks are something we'll keep an eye on. Murphy, of course, the 3-time Offensive Player of the Year in the Little East Conference. She's also cracking the top 10 in all of Division III volleyball with a .393 hitting percentage. Murphy has been stellar and one of the senior leaders. Cliche, but really is true with Julia Murphy. She's been outstanding. And we turn now to this all-time series matchup between the Beacons and Rhode Island College Anchor women. Murphy has been a key reason why the Beacons have been so good. Again, 11 kills last year in the matchup. 10 match sweeps in a row for UMass Boston since 2007. The Beacons have defeated the Anchor women 13 times, and 2009, they haven't lost a single matchup against this squad. So, again, plenty to get to for this matchup. The Anchor women have really struggled. They're looking for just some sort of set threat here tonight against UMass Boston. So we'll step aside again. We'll come back for more pregame coverage. Again, UMass Boston 18-3 overall this year, 5-0 in conference play, looking for their 6th consecutive match win and also trying to get a share of that Little East Conference regular season title tonight. We'll be right back on the Beacons Broadcast Network.
Off the hands of Boyer, out wide for Cohen, and she takes her anger out on that ball, making it 5-3. 2 matches Saturday against Trinity, and then versus the host school. That was Western Connecticut State. Boyer again from the back line, able to pound it off the hands of Glavin and down, and the Beacons live off the hands of Minogue. She off the hands of Battis this time, going to the near side down the line and picking up a reigning Little East Conference Rookie of the Year out of San Francisco, California. Line drive that Battis, for some reason, elected to feed. Nicely over on to Melilo, but she's denied. Murphy looking to kill it off and does so. Off the hands of a very good serve from Elliott, kept alive by Battis. And this time, averaging 11 kills per match. That's a huge solo block for them. Elliott for Fida, through the block and down. Elliott looking for Fida. Fida off the block and down on the Roger Williams side. A 23, Maria attended St. Dominic High School, where she was the 4-year volleyball MVP. Picks up a get-go, but a little bit of an effort to close it out, a little bit more than maybe Terry Conant would have liked. Baker for Murphy once again off the top of the net and down, and that'll do it for set number 2, but not down, as there's another good look, and the first kill of the match for Maddie Newberger. Middle hitter out of Remsburg, New York, a record of 13-2 thus far. Murphy just over the block. Such perfect finesse there that they've taken early leads. Mellow low for Quilty. Not seem like a player with a ton of power, as a great set from Baker finds Murphy, and Murphy easily punches it down. Is in the correct spots this time. Base swing from Cohen. Boyer, that one was diving at the last possible second. Fido with a strong swing right down the Baker for she, and what a tremendous swing off the hands of serve out this net. Elliott's service, there's the ace, and that'll do it. Taking advantage that time of Nikki Felici, and the Beacons win in straight sets, 25-15, 25-15, 25-15.
And thanks again for joining us. Those are the highlights from last time out for the Beacons, a 3-0 match win over Roger Williams, now joined by Seth Orinsky, Brendan Glasheen up here in the booth. We'll take a look at the year statistically for the Beacons. They've been stellar, 18-3 this year. Kills per set, just about 13 per game. Rhode Island inching just over 10. We talked about it a little bit before the game, the fact that the Beacons should really dominate the serving portion of this contest, because they've just been so dominant in that category. Rhode Island has struggled.
Yeah, and it's not just for Rhode Island College, the fact that they're not serving up a lot of aces. It's more their service receive has been very weak this year, giving up well over 2 service aces per set. They're facing a Beacons team that serves it. It's just a different animal than everybody else in this conference. It'll be interesting to see if the Beacons can keep their serve consistent, keep it in, which has been a problem at points this season. We'll see if Rhode Island College can actually set up their offense, or if they're going to be giving up a lot of free points to the Beacons on the service.
And on to the team leaders. We talked about Julia Murphy moments ago and how great she's been in the block game and also on the attack with the kills. Cohen's been outstanding, 215 kills to lead the team. Murphy with the best hitting percentage, that's cracking the top 10 in all of Division III volleyball. Murphy also with the 66 blocks, 2 away from the total blocks all-time record here in UMass Boston history. And on Rhode Island's side, we'll take a look at some of their players. Jillian Ward has been outstanding with her kill numbers, and some other players they have there. Megan Armberg, a senior from Sorensen, Massachusetts. She's the only Mass native on the team. So Rhode Island does have some threatening weapons on their side of things. We move along here and take a look at head coach Leo Bush. He's in his 3rd season with Rhode Island. Bush in his 3rd year. He's 39-36 overall as a head coach. He's recruited some of his local players from Coventry High School. He was the head coach there for 9 seasons up through 2013. So that's why so many products we'll talk about tonight from Rhode Island College are from Coventry, Rhode Island. That's because Leo Bush has brought in some of those players. So he won his first 3 games, or he went 3-4 last year in the LEC. Still winless in conference play this year. We start with one of UMass Boston's coaches, Terry Condon. And she's been the leader of this program all the way through. It's good to see Terry keeping the foot on the gas pedal and trying to get this team ready to go as we get to the heat of this conference schedule, and then at the end of the year some non-conference action to really get ready for the tournament in the Little East and NCAAs. Yeah,
well, with the exception of a pair of 5-set losses to Wellesley College and Middlebury College on back-to-back days, the Beacons have just been phenomenal here in New England, and it's necessary if the Beacons are going to be successful in their hopes of hosting a regional championship for these 4 seniors. The Beacons, just those 2 losses, they've dominated some of the top competition here, and they're hoping for another perfect 7-0 mark in conference play. Last year they were tripped up in their first conference match, finished 6-1, but looking for another phenomenal year under Condon and the other Beacons co-head coach, Michael Houlihan.
Yeah, Coach Houlihan has been outstanding as well. 8th season at UMass Boston. His all-time record with the team, 73-45, 24-2. Little East Conference play, 3 regular season titles under Houlihan. So that duo is really starting to mesh together, and I think Terry Condon can't be more pleased for the help that she's gotten throughout the season, and that tandem looks to keep strong. We'll get to the starters now for both sides. We'll begin with Rhode Island. Rhode Island College, again, coming in winless in Little East play. So Courtney Lambrisi is on the outside hitter spot. She'll get the start. Abigail White is at setter. Megan Armberg, the libero. Hannah Derafaca, the middle blocker. Jillian Ward on the outside hitter spot. Sierra Smith is also a mid blocker. And then Jacqueline Jutris is another outside hitter. The starters for the Anchor women tonight. And let's get to the Beacon starters.
Colin Cohen from Centerville, Massachusetts, senior outside hitter.
Hi, I'm Julia Murphy. I'm a senior middle hitter from Canton, Massachusetts.
Hi, I'm Christina Elliott. I'm a sophomore setter from Camas, Washington.
Hi, I'm Melanie Fida. I'm a freshman right side hitter from Chicago, Illinois.
Hi, I'm Eileen Shee. I'm a sophomore outside hitter from San Francisco, California.
I'm Elizabeth Glavin, senior libero from Edina, Minnesota.
Hi, I'm Sarah Doyle, a freshman middle blocker from Glendale, California.
And it's now time to turn to tonight's keys to the game. Beacon's trying to improve to 6-0 in conference play and also take home their 6th consecutive win. Well, for sure, we mentioned it briefly a few moments ago, Seth. They dominate, or they're going to take advantage of a not so hot service ace return of the Anchor women, but also let's see if they can get out to a fast start.
Yeah, Rhode Island College this season has been very successful in the first sets of matches. They're 12-7 in first sets. That's the only set that they've actually won more sets than their opponents. And the other thing, take control of the middle. You look up and down this Rhode Island College roster, one player over 6 feet tall. That's Jessica Brielmayer, the freshman out of West Greenwich, Rhode Island. This team doesn't go that deep, and they're not that talented when it comes to the block. UMass Boston has a slew of players who are in the top 5 in the conference, especially Murphy and Sarah Doyle. They're 2 6+ foot middles, and it's going to be interesting to see how much success they can have today as UMass Boston, when they're going well, really are functioning all across the board, but they get their middles involved a little bit more than when things are going poorly.
And again, the Beacons have really dominated this matchup. 13 straight matches they have won against the Anchor women. That means no wins for the Anchor women since 2007. Leo Bush trying to get his squad back on track after an 18-12 record last year, their best record since 2009. Again, UMass Boston 18-3 overall, 5-0 in the Little East, a 5-game win streak. Things are starting to click on all cylinders for the Beacons. So we get both starting lineups announced now here on the court. We got to some of those keys to the game. Should be a great night for Julia Murphy if she can get those 2 blocks tonight. That would secure the total block record all time. What type of player is she meant to this program?
Well, I think anytime you have a senior class like this one where you have 2 players who have been All-Americans multiple times, another player who's been an All-Conference player multiple times, it just shows you how deep this squad is. But Murphy has been a huge keystone to this program because she came in and replaced the legend, Shannon Thompson, a 3-time All-American who owns the program record for kills and will probably never be passed with over 1,800 kills in her 4 seasons. Went and played abroad afterwards. Murphy has filled the middle and done a really nice job. She's an athletic player who played 3 sports in high school, was also a hockey player and softball player, and she's just so talented. She makes plays that a lot of other players can't, and a lot of the times it's just because of her flexibility and the length of her arm. She makes some kills that are just dumbfounding, to be quite honest. So we'll see if she can really take advantage of this one and be a key in UMass Boston's run for not only hopefully another LEC conference title, but potentially a lot more, as this Beacons senior class looking for a regional championship just as they won back in their freshman season.
Sure, and you mentioned it just there. Again, tonight only secures a portion, a share of that Little East title. We'll get to that after the national anthem.
And as usual, she wins it. A chance in front. Her shot is in the net. Crystal Layden, yet another goal.
Please make a gift to the Beacon Athletic Fund today. We want you on our team.
And we are just about set for the match to begin between the Rhode Island College Anchor Women and your UMass Boston Beacons volleyball team. Again, UMass Boston 18-3 overall. Last time they were here, a sweep against Roger Williams. They come off a win last Thursday against Keene State. Cohen had 10 kills. Eileen Shee, 8 kills. Elliott had 18 assists. So plenty going the Beacons' way. And a nice bounce-back effort in terms of really just taking care of business against the team that was ranked right behind them in the conference preseason poll.
Yeah, with the exception of Plymouth State, nobody in conference has really been able to put any kind of pressure on the Beacons. They went 4 against Eastern Connecticut State, but I think the Beacons coaching staff would readily admit that was more just a point of letting the foot off the pedal rather than actually getting challenged. Plymouth State was a very brutal challenge, a 5-setter up in Plymouth, but the Beacons hoping to secure home court advantage and force everybody to come here and beat them, which has happened just once this season.
And we are underway inside the Clark Athletic Center. Cohen's kill attempt, ricocheted back, and there's a kill to start tonight for Eileen Shee, the sophomore from San Francisco. She had 8 kills in the victory over Keene State College last Thursday. Christina Elliott serves for the Beacons. There's Murphy right in the middle, showing her presence already. Fina picks up the point.
And Brendan, you saw it on that second point. The serve receive wasn't great. It forced the setter White to come very close in. A tight set that brought the hitter not into a great angle to get a kill. And it's not just the aces today for the Beacons. It's the bad first passes that lead to poor sets that are going to cause Rhode Island College some problems.
Service error against Christina Elliott. So the point to Rhode Island College. Anchor women keeping it in play. And it's deflected back. Jillian Ward couldn't clear the net. Point to UMass Boston.
Yeah, that time it looked like Derefaka ahead of Jillian Ward might have been going up for it as well. Might have caused Ward to just back away a little bit.
Megan Armberg is the libero on the right side. Armberg wearing white. Point there to Rhode Island College. Glavin in green for UMass Boston. Elizabeth Glavin. Beacons doubling the Anchor women so far.
And the Beacons have given Rhode Island College their low in points. That's been an issue for UMass Boston. Some of the matches where they don't play as well, they give up too many free points.
Point to the Beacons after the error on the Anchor women's side. And you said it before the game, that front line there of outside hitters and mid-blockers is going to be tough to stop if you're the Rhode Island College here tonight. Another mistake ends up being a Beacons point, 6-2 in set one.
Yeah, Ward is heavily taped up on that left hip. I don't know if that's influencing her ability to get up at all, but she's had a couple balls where she just hasn't been able to get high enough to get the ball over the net.
Ward has the team high in kills per set at 3.5. Point to the Beacons. Again, a win tonight for UMass Boston. And the program secures at least a share of their 8th consecutive Little East regular season title. That ball smoked by Fida.
That was a difficult attempted set there by Jutras, who is a setter by trade. She's playing outside this year behind Abigail White, the junior, but unable to get a good, clean set there, and the Beacons will take the point and the timeout.
Jutras and White, both local products. Jutras from Foster, Rhode Island, and White from Coventry, Rhode Island. Even the youngsters are having a blast tonight for some UMass Boston volleyball. And the timeout, 8-2, Beacons here in set one. Make sure you check us out on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, at UMass Beacons. Be sure to check out the Beacons baseball program, too. They're getting set for another big year. Most of those guys on our production crew tonight. Timeout should be ending in just a moment. Beacons have also won 5 consecutive matches, 2 of those wins coming in Little East play. So for UMass Boston, it's Elizabeth Glavin to serve. Clears the net by a hair. That ball smoked down. Nicely done by Sierra Smith, the junior from Colorado.
And that's exactly what Leo Bush wants to see. Your team struggling. They haven't put down a kill yet. You run your best set for one of your best hitters, and a perfectly executed point for the anchor women.
She rises. And she gets the point. Nice response by the Beacons attack.
That one actually ended up on the Beacon side of the net. Just couldn't get high enough, so that gave another error and another anchor women point.
Off the deflection, but the error gives Rhode Island College its 3rd consecutive point out of the timeout. That was a Beacons timeout, and Rhode Island might have taken advantage the most. Service error, though, makes it 9-5.
Yeah, thus far, we've already seen 5 errors combined between the two teams, 4 on the Beacons to keep Rhode Island College close, but I'm certain that both coaches probably a little bit frustrated with how their teams have started early on here between the service errors and the attack errors.
And we've seen 5 combined. Rhode Island averages 2 per set this season. And the point to Marissa Brines, the Warwick, Rhode Island native, a defensive specialist. For the anchor women, it's 9-6. Baker leaves it for Fida. Murphy in the right spot, per usual. Dug out nicely by She. Far side. I think too many hands were on the ball that time. Point to the anchor women.
Baker in that instance, I think she got called for the double touch, trying to get it across for Maslak. And right now the Beacons bogging down a bit after the hot start.
This time the point to UMass Boston. Is it one of those cases where if you're the coaching staff, the two co-head coaches, I mean, ever playing down to your competition, is that something that comes across?
Oh, I think that's absolutely a thing you worry about in every sport, but also 6 o'clock match, it's foggy outside, it's not great weather. I don't think the fans are necessarily into it. There's not many fans for this in-conference match, in which, to be fair, there's a lot of Beacons student athletes who don't come out to some of the matches against conference opponents because they expect a victory, whereas a lot of the other teams have big fan attendances when the Beacons come to town. They want to see the upset. And I'm certain that could get in the back of the heads of some of the players trying to get motivated and ready to go.
Julia Murphy next to serve, 11-8. UMass Boston in set 1. Temperatures today were supposed to be in the 80s. There was some sun in the earlier part of the afternoon, but the fog kicked in for most of the day. Over the harbor just next door to campus. Here's Lambrisi. She wears number 1. That ball falls and trickles in. Point to the Beacons, 13-8.
Yeah, really nice play there by Baker, sensing that Rhode Island College was scrambling a little bit out of rotation. From an awkward angle, able to put it down for the kill.
Lambrisi, not that time. She with too much mustard wide of the box. And Rhode Island College picks up point number 9 here in the opening set.
The Beacons are getting their hands on a lot of swings from Rhode Island College. Haven't been able to put down a block on the other side. I don't know if it's really just the finesse of the anchor women, but thus far, they're doing a really nice job avoiding the Beacons block, avoiding giving up those free, easy points.
Pepper Baker reaching on the Rhode Island College side of the net. Anchor women partner really feeling it now, 13-10.
Yeah,
13-11, that was the 11th point.
Kianko fooled a little bit there, thought it was flying deep. Instead, it fell right behind her just in front of the line.
Baker to She, dug out by Lambrisi, or pardon me, that's Armberg. Point to UMass Boston.
And that's the nice safety net that the Beacons have when things aren't going well. Feed She, feed Murphy, feed Colleen Cohen, as Cohen and Murphy were both out there, only one go-to hitter. Now Colleen Cohen checks back in within the rotation. The Beacons should have a bit more effectiveness offensively.
Cohen and Baker, the seniors, along the line. Error on Rhode Island College. Point 15 for UMass Boston.
Yeah, that was one of those tricky serve receives that I talked about as a key in this match. Rhode Island College unable to get it over on 3. And Elliott, one of the better servers on this Beacons team, she can do that to opponents.
Native of Washington, Christina Elliott. Armberg has been outstanding, the libero. Too late, though, for Sarah Doyle, the freshman. Earns the kill, 16-11.
Yeah, I mean, what do you do if you're Derafaka and Lambrisi, both listed at 5'8"? Doyle just able to extend the arm up 6'2", easily able to get over the block and an easy kill.
3 6-footers for the Beacons. Murphy for She, but an error. You can see the potential in She, the sophomore. I mean, she can be lethal. She can get it under control and be a little more consistent.
Yeah, and I think right now the Beacons coaching staff keeps yelling good. They like what she's doing. She's one of the few players who's being aggressive, who's playing up to her normal level, not necessarily connecting, but you have to avoid thinking about who you're playing and just try to play good volleyball, because the Beacons are going to head this weekend. They'll play SUNY Canton, they'll play Trinity, and then they'll play a very good Amherst team. That's who you're worried about. You're not worried about necessarily who you're playing at this moment in time. You want to be playing your best volleyball in 2 weeks when you head to the LEC tournament.
Eileen She, mentioned her name a moment ago, 17 points now, 18, pardon me, for the Beacons. She with 2.75 kills per set, that's second on the squad, behind Colleen Cohen. Service error, though, that time from She. And she checks out of the game. Michelle St. Louis, the sophomore defensive specialist, checks in. She's played in just 8 sets this year.
Yeah, St. Louis is a player who's earned playing time over the past couple of weeks, working really hard in practice, staying positive. It's not easy to crack this Beacons lineup with so many talented upperclassmen, and St. Louis has earned a little bit of that PT. But, I mean, you see it here. The Beacons keeping Rhode Island College in this set. We're going to get the stats after the set. Most of the Anchor women points, I think at least over 50% have come off of Beacon's errors rather than anything that Rhode Island College has been able to accomplish thus far.
Right. And a timeout for Leo Bush and the Anchor women. We're still in the opening set, 20-13, Beacons. And you mentioned St. Louis, the sophomore. She's from Dallas, Texas. Went to J.J. Pierce High School, played club volleyball with the Nitro volleyball team. It'll be interesting to see if any more youngsters and underclassmen can crack themselves into the lineup, and hopefully in some of these home games coming up before the season ends.
Yeah, the Beacons have Rhode Island College tonight, then they'll host Southern Maine next Tuesday for Senior Day. I think that you'll see some of them, you just won't see a ton of time. The issue with volleyball versus some of the other sports is it's such a game about getting into your rhythm and staying in your rhythm that you want to get in-match competition for some of your upperclassmen, for some of your better players, just to keep them involved so that they don't go through a little bit of lull when you really need them. There's not much volleyball left to be played. The Beacons have 3 matches this weekend, next Tuesday at home, and then they head out to Texas for 4 matches. Then you're in the playoffs. It's such a short season in the fall for any sport, but especially volleyball, where you play so many matches in a week, and then all of a sudden the tournament is upon you.
And there's an ace for Elizabeth Cleven. 21-13, Beacons 4 points away from taking the opening set. Another solid hit from Glaven. St. Louis still in the game, and there's a kill coming from the far side, Colleen Cohen. She had 10 kills last Thursday at Keene State College. A match sweep for UMass Boston. Beacons denied that time. Nicely done by Jillian Ward, the outside hitter from Coventry, Rhode Island, one of the recruits of Leo Bush, his former high school coaching grounds.
Yeah, that was really impressive by Ward, going up and stuffing Murphy. Doesn't happen frequently, and you can see where this Rhode Island College team is going. It doesn't look like they have many upperclassmen, just one senior, that's the libero, Armberg, and actually Nicole Thibodeau, who we haven't seen yet in this match. A ton of freshmen, a ton of sophomores, a nice junior class. They should be right back in the mix a year from now when some of these younger players have a year to mature.
Pepper Baker, the server for UMass Boston. 23-14, 9-point advantage. Another error on Rhode Island College, and now we have set point.
Smith got up so high on that one, but just unable to control it, just a bit too strong, looking for that back right corner.
Smith, one of the more experienced players, 159 career matches played. She is the junior, and the point, courtesy of Jillian Ward once again. Ward, a sophomore, earned Little East Rookie of the Week twice last year, so there's promise on her end. Ward just outside the line, and the Beacons take the opening set, 25-15. They take care of business and set the tone. They mentioned that fast pace. Hopefully, when we shift into the next set, we'll have more of it coming from UMass Boston's attack. We'll take a break. We'll come back and preview the second set. You're watching UMass Boston Women's Volleyball on the Beacons Broadcast Network.
Division III allows you to give yourself to other things.
Having that free time allows me to pursue the things that I want to pursue.
Division III athletics affords students the opportunity to, engage in the other interests in their campus and in their lives outside of that sport.
It allows you to just be able to do everything you want to do. I wouldn't change it for the world.
Take a look right now at the highlights from set number 1. The other teams have big fan attendances when the Beacons come to town. They want to see the upset.
The libero. St. Louis still in the game. And there's a kill coming from the far side. Collie on her end. Ward. And that was a look at the opening set. Again, 25-15 Beacons took care of Rhode Island College, the anchor women. Let's take a look around Beaconville that's going on this cloudy, foggy afternoon. Women's tennis, the number 6 seed of the LEC quarters, went down to UMass Dartmouth 5-1. And we have some contest going on the next tomorrow, that is actually. Men's soccer traveling to MIT tomorrow night, 7 o'clock start. And then women's soccer in action at Framingham State just before that men's soccer matchup at 7. You can catch the women at 4 o'clock. That's the look around Beaconville.
And Brendan, we take a look at the first set, and the stats are not pretty. The Beacons, 5 attack errors and 4 service errors, 9 points. On the other side, Rhode Island College gave up 11 points, 6 attack errors, and 5 service errors. So there's 20 combined points of the 40 in that first set coming off errors. I'm sure both of these coaches are hoping for a much better performance. The Beacons, despite those 5 errors, hit 200 in the set. Rhode Island College finishing at -136, just 3 kills. The Beacons, 2 aces, 4 errors. Rhode Island College, 1 ace versus 5 errors. Not much on the block, just 1 block apiece on either team. Standouts, the Beacons had a couple players with 2 kills. Jillian Ward had 2 for the anchor women. And defensively, 5 or 6 players with 2 digs. Not many players stood out in that first set, but it was such an ugly first set, it's not a surprise there's no statistical leaders.
So both teams switch sides, and set number 2 is underway. Point goes to UMass Boston. Colleen Cohen now standing on the near side, so we got to look at what Cohen can do. A little closer to our vantage point.
And Brandon, when you factor in block errors from that first set, 24 of the 40 points came off of errors. That's just an incredibly disheartening number when you're talking about trying to get into the flow of the match for the players, for the broadcasters, for the people watching at home. It has not been a good one thus far. And there, Elliott's called as she tried to make the set. She ran into the net. And Rhode Island College, I believe it's their first lead of the match.
That's right. They went down early in set 1. So 2-1 the advantage. Lambrisi with the serve. Glavin finds She. Dug out by Jutras. With the point to UMass Boston. An error on the RIC side. And we talked about Rhode Island College. They went 18-12 last year, and for Leo Bush, it's been a slower start to this season. They have yet to win a conference game, 0-4, with 3 conference games left. They take the lead again here in the second set, 3-2.
Yeah, that's a nice little swing from Jutras finding that back corner. And while we talked about the Beacons maybe struggling to get up for a match like this against a team without a win, I think Rhode Island College might be going through some nerves early on here. Both teams maybe struggling to get mentally into the match.
Jutras with some aggressive play, but it turns into an error. Jutras is a freshman from Foster, Rhode Island. She was also a track and field star, the MVP at Punagansett High School. She went to the same high school as teammate Sierra Smith. Smith from Colorado actually moved to Rhode Island, and they went to the same high school. Different graduating years. Smith in 2013, Jutras last spring. 3-3 in set 2. Beacons took the first one, 25-15. She rises, but commits an error.
Yeah, the Beacons with quite a few sets to the back line or behind the back line. And right now, those are some of the more difficult sets. I think offensively, UMass Boston is going to look to try to feed the combination of Murphy, Cohen, and Shi to get those easy points.
Murphy just pulverizes the defense. That's an intimidating presence in the middle for UMass Boston. Give Murphy the kill, and we're even at 4. Murphy, yes! Consecutive kills for the senior from Canton, Massachusetts.
Beacons going into their bench a little bit. Emma Glover out there, the sophomore out of Barnstable, Mass, making a rare appearance.
And error on Rhode Island College's side, so the Beacons have reeled off 3 consecutive points. 2-point lead in the second set. And make it 4.
Yeah, and that's a difficult serve, but there's just a lack of communication. Arnberg has a player right behind her, and Jutras would have had a much easier receive. Instead, Arnberg tried to handle it and gives it back to the Beacons.
Beacons riding the momentum of Melanie Fida. Another point, 8-4. 5 consecutive points coming on the UMass Boston side.
Yeah, Sierra Smith sort of got hung out to dry there. Was going up, the ball caught her with both hands.
And Fida picks up the service ace. Location, location, location. She found the inner part of the box. Smith cut right in front of Abigail White. Dug out by Arnberg. White zips it over. It's set up for Cohen. Point to the Beacons. 7 straight.
Yeah, that was actually Glover just into the match. But the sad part about that point, if you're Rhode Island College, you get it over twice. Neither time are you really giving yourself a chance to get the kill. Both times just pushing it back across, trying to extend the point. You can't do that against UMass Boston. You have to get your offense set up.
Emma Glover, you mentioned it. She's from Barnstable. Played at Barnstable High School, a volleyball and lacrosse star. All-state in both sports. Picks up the kill. It's 10-4. That led to the timeout by Leo Bush and the Anchor women's side. Got to think there's some direction. We talked about the Beacons being in that preseason poll as number 1 with 48 points. Western Connecticut State 5 points behind at 43. Keene State College actually had more first place votes than Western with 2, but in the point totals finished 3rd with 39. Then Rhode Island College comes down at number 6 with 16 points. So Leo Bush, again, trying to rebound after that great season last year. Sort of a third-year slump as opposed to the sophomore slump. That's another point for UMass Boston. 8 consecutive points have come from the Beacons. They are riding Fida right now. Fida digs it out. Nicely done. Murphy denies Abigail White. All Beacons in set 2.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate for Rhode Island College. Sierra Smith had a great swing, but if things are going your way, sometimes you get the breaks. Fida able to keep it alive, and then I think it was Smith who was actually blocked. The Beacons just rolling here, and sometimes it just takes that one service run to get things going.
I would think by this point, has Murphy picked up the blocks? There was a block right there, of course, so Murphy again was 2 total blocks away.
She did have 1 block solo in the first set, so that should be the record. Always sort of have to wait and check on the stats, which I can pull up on my phone. But yeah, if they continue to play Julia, she certainly will get it if she already has it.
Glavin kept it alive. She's in the green jersey. Point to the Beacons again.
And that certainly makes it, because we have 1 confirmed. There's no way that doesn't go to Julia. So Julia has broken yet another record, the total solo block record, the total block record, and she's closing in on the block assist mark as well.
The former record was 377, and now she has it. 13-5, UMass Boston here in the set. So their streak of 9 consecutive points ended Rhode Island College picked up their 5th point of the set. Beacons took the first set, 25-15. A match victory tonight for UMass Boston. It guarantees a share of its 8th Little East regular season conference title. And we say a share because after tonight, there are still 2 conference games remaining in the season.
Yeah, the Beacons, hypothetically, if they won one of these next 2, either today's match or next week against Southern Maine, and lost the other, they could still end up tied for first with another team. There's still 2 teams with 1 loss, but since the Beacons have beaten both of those teams, they would wrap up the number 1 overall seed with the victory tonight or next Tuesday.
When I say 2 matches remaining, that includes tonight with Southern Maine, as Seth mentioned, next Tuesday.
Murphy officially on the live stats with 3 blocks, so tied the record, broke the record, and is adding on to her new record.
Abigail White lofts it back. Tried to set up Lambrisi, but it's an error. 15-6 is where we stand here in set 2. Nifty play by Abigail White. Totally faked out the defense.
Yeah, I love when setters go over on 2. Sometimes you can be too predictable with it, but a perfect job waiting as long as possible before turning the body. Totally fooling the Beacons defense.
Who needs another assist, right? Abigail White, 5th all-time in Rhode Island College history in assists entering the season, but why not go for the kill on your own there? Cohen almost had it, but it goes Rhode Island College's way.
Yeah, and that's one where it's kind of time and place. Colleen, right idea, but just being pulled a little bit too far away from the net.
Jutris keeps it alive. Cohen, this time she got it to go. A kill for Khalid Cohen, the senior outside hitter from Centerville, Massachusetts, just outside Cape Cod.
Yeah, Colleen has been a difference maker this year after being the Beacons' 3rd best hitter a year ago, leading the team by only a little bit over Sheehan Murphy, but it makes such a huge difference when you have a consistent 3rd hitter, and in this case a top hitter, who can provide that extra energy and take some of the pressure off Sheehan Murphy, who were number 1 and number 2 last year, finished within a kill of each other.
Cohen, part of a miscommunication on the Beacons side just a moment ago. Cohen spent her first 2 years at Wheaton College. She was a kills machine there as well. Jutris grabs a point. Right around this point in the first set, we saw UMass Boston sort of take off, and certainly the effort and how they've earned their points in this set has spoken more volumes in this set as opposed to set 1.
Yeah, I think the errors have been cleaned up a little bit. I still think we'll see a decent amount of errors on the stat sheet, but a combined 24 on the first 40 points of set 1. I don't think we're going to be looking at anything nearly as bad for the 2 teams. It's been a more enjoyable set to watch of volleyball.
Sarah Doyle just grabbed a kill and checked out. And a service ace for Elizabeth Glavin. 18-11 Beacons in set 2. And Jillian Ward just mishandled.
Yeah, poor reception there, forcing the timeout. And that's the big difference. When you serve as well as UMass Boston, it's difficult to get anything going if you're the other side. It just leads to so many free points.
So a timeout taken by Leo Bush. Bush and his assistant, Sherry Hurd, in year number 3 with the Anchor Women. Leo Ward, again, led this program to an 18-12 record last year. And in 2012, pardon me, Leo Bush, Jillian Ward was the player I was referencing and mixing up there. Bush was named the Words Unlimited Schoolgirl Coach of the Year in 2012 for his efforts with high school coaching in the state of Rhode Island. 19-11, we resume play. That was a rocket in the net. Fida kept it alive. Dug out by the Beacons. Cohen rises and collects the kill.
That was a bullet off the hands of Colleen.
Cohen almost had a block that time. And she's set up again. Give her another one. Colleen Cohen collects another kill.
Yeah, you can see why Hannah Derefka on the Rhode Island College side leads the team in blocks. It's just there's not enough around her to really put the pressure in. It gives the Beacons a good chance to set around her, move the ball away from her. She's in the last couple of points as she checks out. She's had a really couple nice jumps, nice attempts to get in the block. Just hasn't had enough help team-wise to come up with some easy points for her team.
Glavin with that service error, 21-12 the score. White did not fool the D this time. She almost snuck that ball over again on the set. Point to UMass Boston. And reserves check in. Pepper Baker and Rachel Maslack, the sophomore from Dublin Center, Ohio. First we see of Maslack tonight.
Maslack saw some time. She's in there on that 6-2 switch, so anytime Baker checks in, Maslack checks in as well. Just not as big of a hitter as Cohen is with Elliott.
(23-12) now. Pepper Baker, the setter from Tallahassee, Florida. Just lofted it over. Service ace for the senior.
Yeah, Pepper's had a really nice breakthrough over the last couple weeks on her service. She went from really struggling to pick up aces to picking up more and more with each set.
She's tied for fourth on the squad with 25 service aces entering play. That seals the set. UMass Boston has taken consecutive sets from Rhode Island College. 25-15 in set one, this time 25-12 here in set two. The two teams head back to their original stations. We'll step aside again and we'll have highlights from set number two and go around the LEC. You're watching all of the coverage of UMass Boston volleyball on the Beacons Broadcast Network.
The University of Massachusetts Boston, with its scenic oceanfront campus, easily accessible to downtown Boston, is recognized as a model of excellence for urban public universities. 16 NCAA Division III sports are part of the more than 100 student organizations that create an engaging campus life in America's biggest and best college town. UMass Boston, Boston's urban public research university for the 21st century.
We'll take a look right now at the highlights from set number two. The combination of Murphy, Cohen, and Shee to get those easy points.
2-point lead in the second set. Murphy has it. Glavin kept it alive. She's in the green jersey. Point to Abigail White. Lofts it back. Tried to set up Lambrese. More volumes in this set as opposed to set one.
Yeah, I think the errors have been cleaned up a little.
Alive. Dug out by the Beacons. Cohen! See Florida. Just lofted it over.
She went from really struggling to pick up aces to picking up more and more with each set.
She's tied for 4th on the squad with 25 service aces entering play. That seals the set. UMass Boston.
Take a look around Beaconville right now. This is the only conference match of the evening, but a couple other matches going on at 7 p.m. Nichols College at UMass Dartmouth, Western Connecticut State at Westfield State, and Eastern Connecticut State. That's the big one. They take on undefeated Johnson & Wales in Providence. Johnson & Wales 21-0 on the season. This might be the last good chance for a team to beat them in the regular season, as UMass Boston did not get a chance to see the Wildcats. Could be a potential matchup in a regional tournament if the Beacons and Wildcats were to get there.
And we spoke on Johnson & Wales just spitballing before the game and how dominating they've been this year, and the team to look out for as well is if Keene State College or Southern Maine, some of those teams that the Southern Maine is of course the team UMass Boston has not faced yet. They'll see them next Tuesday on senior night, but keep an eye on some of those other Little East teams, because when the conference tournament comes after that Texas trip, Beacons will have to refamiliarize themselves with conference action.
Yeah, well, the Beacons 2 years ago went 7-0 in conference play and then fell in the LEC semifinals to Western Connecticut State. So 8 consecutive regular season titles, 1 set away from setting that mark. But the Beacons have only won 6 of the past 7 tournament titles. And, of course, the tournament matters a bit more than the regular season, as that's what leads to getting into the NCAA tournament.
Service error this time to even the score 1-1 in set 3. Mentioned Julia Murphy, so officially on the stat sheet she has 3 blocks tonight. So Murphy has now secured the total blocks all-time record in UMass Boston volleyball history. She's up at 378 now with the 3. Nice block over there on the far sideline, Sarah Doyle. Emma Glover is also there.
No, I think potential, yeah. Emma just came off.
Glover earns the block and checks out. 2-1 Beacons. Glavin, right spot. Cohen tried to smash it down. Kept alive by Rhode Island College. They run out of space, 3-1.
Yeah, Glavin actually made a mistake there. Her pass a bit too strong, went over the net accidentally, but it's the benefit of having a 6-footer in the middle, as Doyle easily put the attempted kill right back on the Rhode Island College side.
Michelle St. Louis the serve. Keeps her hands off the ball, 4-1 Beacons. If you're head coach Leo Bush on the Anchor women's side, what are you telling your team after you go down 2 sets to this squad on the road?
Well, I think that this is a chance for you to get better. The first set was really difficult on both sides, just so many combined errors. Have to get cleaner. You still have 2 matches after this against the Plymouth State team that's a small step down, not a big step from UMass Boston, but maybe a bit more of a winnable match. And then they close the season at UMass Dartmouth, another winless team in conference play. You don't want to go winless. That's the biggest thing in conference. And all you need to do is win 2 matches potentially to get into the conference tournament, with 6 of the 8 teams getting in. You just need to push yourself mentally to stay in this match, because not everyone is as good as UMass Boston.
Second point for Rhode Island College, courtesy of Hannah Derafaka, the sophomore middle blocker from West Warwick, Rhode Island. She's a transfer from the Community College of Rhode Island. Beacons extend the lead to 4, 6-2.
And this is the best UMass Boston has looked to start a set. They've started to get a little bit crisper throughout this match. And this is the kind of volleyball that I'm sure Michael Houlihan and Terry Condon want them to play come this weekend when they head to Amherst Nest.
Murphy almost earned a point right there. Good effort by Rhode Island College. Elliott upstairs. Nearly stroken down by Fida. Point to Rhode Island College.
It's a perfectly placed ball by Ward. Elliott thought it was going to end up going wide, and it ended up hitting the tape just behind the Beacon sophomore setter.
6-3. Beacons doubling the Anchor women here in set 3. Beacons took set 1, 25-15. Service ace by Jacqueline Jutras.
Yeah, I think FIDA just got fooled there a little bit. Belly flopped on top of the ball, wasn't expecting it to be a lot harder. And that's the second or third time that Jutras has gotten away with an ace where her ball just sort of seems to die.
6-4. Elliott behind for Murphy. And she slams down a kill, 7-4. Substitutions checking in for the Beacons. Rachel Maslak checks in. And Pepper Baker for the Beacons. Mentioned that duo working together, service error. I've been waiting to ask you this. Does Terry Condon get up at all from the bench?
Not unless she needs to. Michael Houlihan is in charge of calling the Beacon sets, so he'll hide behind his clipboard and he'll give the hand signals. But Condon is, especially in a match like this where things aren't necessarily as tense or shouldn't be, Condon just tries to stay very relaxed. A seasoned veteran, an ABCA Hall of Famer, she's seen it all. Some of the more intense matches, the conference tournament, the NCAA tournament, the Elite Eight, she'll be up off the bench and barking, but Terry Condon is very happy, not just with letting Michael Houlihan coach, but also she's got a very talented staff. Kate Carlson, Kirsten Morrison, Shannon Thompson. Condon will do more of her coaching when a player comes off. She'll bring them aside either down the line or right next to her on the bench rather than getting up and screaming. She just doesn't see a huge need for it.
I'm just impressed. It feels like she hasn't moved a bit. Watching on as if she were a spectator with courtside seats. 9-5 our score in set 3. Sierra Smith denied. Pepper Baker up top for FIDA. Beacons have so much size up front. Murphy with a light tap over. They set up to block, but the kill goes to Marissa Byrons. Brines, pardon me, the sophomore. The kill, 9-6 here in set 3. Rhode Island College making a little bit of noise.
Yeah, the issue is when UMass Boston decides to move their middles out wide, then you create an even bigger size advantage, and Rhode Island College has not been able to block that down. Anchor women with just one block in the first set.
Murphy to the serve. They rotate in, Glover. Murphy. Baker, near sideline. For Maslak.
Yeah, Pepper called for the lift on that one. Really frustrated with herself. It's not an easy set. In fact, never really played volleyball at a high level. I have to figure that's the hardest set because it's a no-look behind the back. But Baker, who's played at the center position for 3 years now at the collegiate level, very frustrated with herself. And it's one of those mental mistakes that the Beacons have made probably a bit too often in this match.
Lambrisi and Dara Faka help Rhode Island College get within 2 points here in set 3. Service error makes it 11-8. Talked about the all-time history in this series between these two schools before the game today. Beacons have won 13 straight matches against the Anchor women. That means no wins for Rhode Island College since 2007 against this squad. Somehow Lambrisi found a way to keep that ball alive, but not long enough. 12-8.
Yeah, it actually caught the underside of the scoreboard up above, which seems to be sort of a match-to-match decision based off the officials on whether it's going to be in play, but these officials ruling that is out.
Gyms run into that problem all the time, I can imagine. Sarah Doyle couldn't keep it inside the circle, 12-9. Gotta think Sarah Doyle could be, a real program changer down the road just as a freshman, but that 6'2" frame, I mean, you could build around her, literally. Doyle shifting left, going for the block. Cohen with the kill. Pump of the fist for Khalid Cohen.
Yeah, miscommunication between Lambrisi and Ward there. Both players thinking the other was going to play it. The nice thing for Doyle is not only is she 6'2", but she's getting to play alongside these 4 talented seniors, including Murphy, who plays the same position, learning the position from Murphy, not having to be the main middle blocker this year. And next year, she'll have a better understanding of the game when she probably will step into the main middle hitter, middle blocker role with the Beacons.
Melanie Fida and the one we just spoke of, Sarah Doyle. 14-9 in set number 3. Beacons going for the sweep. An error puts them at 15 points. And a timeout for Rhode Island College. Rhode Island College still in search of its first Little East Conference win at 0-4. They won 3 games in conference last year. Beacons 5-0, trying to go to 6-0 in conference play, of course, and win their 6th consecutive match so far. So they've won they've won 5 in a row. They're going for 6 in a row. What are your thoughts on potentially if they could run the table the rest of the way before they go to Texas, that is, and they run into some tough competition? It almost might be a good thing, as you talked about before the match today, about getting some healthy conference level or above conference level and NCAA tournament level competition before that Little East Conference tournament.
Yeah, everyone else plays the final Saturday of the regular season with the exception of one matchup because there are an even amount of conference teams. Terry Condon has always tried to schedule at a conference nationally ranked teams for that weekend because it gets you playing up to your highest level of volleyball. Even if you suffer some losses, A, they're out of region losses, which don't hurt as much to the NCAA selection committee, but B, it gets you ready for tough conference games in the semifinals and finals, and then it gets you ready for the following weekend when you are going to be playing nationally ranked programs, when you're potentially going to be playing on the road against really strong teams in a NCAA regional semifinal or final. You're ready because you played matches recently against similar competition.
Service ace to the sophomore, Michelle St. Louis, the Dallas, Texas native. We said it, 8 sets played in 7 matches coming into tonight. She's getting some extra play time here against Rhode Island College.
Great effort there by Rhode Island College to keep the point alive.
Yeah, Ward turned around and thought the sequence was over. Now it is. Abigail White falling down. It's now at 19-9. Should the Beacons go on and take care of this match as a whole and even this set to take the sweep, we will be joined by Michael Houlihan, the co-head coach, after the match. So stay tuned for that and his thoughts on what would, should the Beacons finish this off, a share of their 8th consecutive regular season title in the Little East Conference. That is no short feat.
And this is Houlihan's 8th season with the program, so certainly very familiar with how good that feels, but also the importance of home court advantage. The Beacons have been the number 1 overall seed in 7 of those 8 seasons.
Far sideline, Fida.
Finishing a tie with Plymouth State in 2011, and then went on to beat the Panthers in the LSC title game up in Plymouth, New Hampshire.
Sierra Smith just grabbed Rhode Island College's 11th point. 19-11 here in set 3. Cohen, get out of her way! Devastating blow against the Anchor women.
Yeah, that was one of the best swings you're going to see in collegiate volleyball. Cohen getting all the way on top of the ball and just crushing it downwards.
Point to the Anchor women, 20-12. There were superlatives for this Beacons team. Who gets most intimidating by the net? Is it Julia Murphy or Colleen Cohen, or is that a tie?
Well, if you're talking on the block, it's Murphy. If you're talking the strongest hitter, it's Eileen Shee, without a doubt. We saw her last Tuesday against Roger Williams swing and hit the ball over the block and into the face of Roger Williams' DS, and the ball literally left an imprint on the DS, who, to her credit, stayed in the match and continued playing. But it was one of the hardest swings I've ever seen, and she just does that time after time.
So does Cohen fall somewhere in the middle, you think?
Certainly one of the stronger hitters in the conference, just slightly behind Murphy and Shee, who are just built a little bit thicker than Colleen, who's more of a rail, whereas those two are a bit more muscular.
20-14, and a timeout. Overall in the season, Rhode Island College at 9-10, just 2-5 away from Providence, Rhode Island. That is where the team is based. The school was founded back in 1854. President is Dr. Frank Sanchez. They are, of course, in the ECAC, a member of the Little East Conference. Leo Bush era is in year number 3 with Sherry Hurd alongside. They had lots of senior talent depart, so there's a reason why they've dropped off. 6 games over 500 last year at 18-12. The serve from Rhode Island College. Nice second effort by the Beacons, Christina Elliott.
Yeah, the issue is Glavin just a bit too far outside, able to get it over just on the wrong side there of the antenna.
Here we go, set resumes. Elliott leaves it for Cohen. 21-15. We've talked about it numerous times tonight on this broadcast about going forward and some of those tests at the end of the season. And you sort of teased this a little bit, but it seems easier said than done. How does that duo of Condon and Houlihan, how do they sort of feed off each other as the games intensify and the meaning intensifies for each match?
Well, I think the big thing is they've been doing this together for so long. This is Mike's 3rd year as the co-head coach, but 8 years working together with Mike as the lead assistant. Each of them has their strengths. Each of them has different roles. Mike will be in charge of the game plan, working with the other assistants, and Terry makes a lot of the in-match adjustments. Is Melanie Fida, the rare soccer kick to keep the ball alive. Very legal, but not quite frequently seen.
Baker had it dumped off to Murphy, but that soared over by Rhode Island College. Marissa Brines, the sophomore, gets it done. Brines, the sophomore, played in just 6 sets in 4 total matches last year. She is looking for an increased role. And the point goes to Jillian Ward.
Yeah, give Rhode Island College credit. They have fought in every single one of these sets. This is the most points they've picked up in a set thus far today. This team, every single time they go into the huddle, they're upbeat. They're trying to stay positive, and that's the biggest thing when your team is struggling, to not give up on yourself.
Baker tried to set it up for Maslack, and it worked. 23-17, the point totals for the Anchor women. They had 15 in set 1, just 12 in set 2. It's 17 right now. Service error makes it 18 points. Again, don't forget, we'll probably touch on this in the post game, but the Beacons close out their home slate. That is in the regular season, next Tuesday against Southern Maine. Senior Day here inside the Clark Athletic Center. Murphy almost earned another block. She had 3 through the first 2 sets. And the error on Rhode Island College's side makes it set and match point. How fitting that it's in Murphy's hands. She fires. White couldn't get to it. And the Beacons once again sweep Rhode Island College. Third set was a little closer, but the final 25-18. UMass Boston has secured a share of its 8th consecutive Little East regular season title. That is no small feat, and we said it, Michael Houlihan, who's been here for 8 years, 8 titles.
Quite the impressive accomplishment. Now the focus is on the postseason. Obviously still a couple more matches to be played. The Beacons with 4 very important matches for potential hosting purposes for NCAA regionals in region, and then 4 matches on the road down in Texas. But the Beacons, they have a checklist. Regular season titles number 1. LEC tournament titles number 2, and then you talk about the NCAA. So a good start for UMass Boston in getting to those goals and accomplishments.
So we will step aside. Again, the Beacons take care of this match. They sweep the Anchor Women of Rhode Island College. We'll have post-game next with co-head coach Michael Houlihan on the Beacons Broadcast Network.
Moving from Turkey, it was a rough journey for me because when you don't really speak the language that well and when you don't really fit in the crowd, it's very easy to disappear. But I decided not to give up, and UMass helped me.
Cheer for the stumbles. The he shoulda had that's. And the tears that linger. For in those moments, greatness lies. There, you will find the provoked, the determined, the unified. It's in those moments that champions are born.
Welcome back inside the Clark Athletic Center. We are joined by co-head coach of the Beacons volleyball team, Michael Houlihan. 8 seasons and now a share of the 8th consecutive Little East regular season title. You've been here a long time now. What does this mean to you?
I mean, it's good to have. It's a good start. I mean, it obviously gets us the right to host a tournament, and that's what we want. That's the start to our goal. But we really need to win the conference championship tournament, and we also want to compete for the national tournament. So, I mean, like I said, it's a good start. It's the first milestone that we hit. It was a good way to kind of get it tonight, but we just got to clean up our play because we've still got a long season left.
Beacons take care of Rhode Island College in 3 sets tonight. They've really dominated this matchup for the last handful of years. How about Julia Murphy picking up a couple of more blocks tonight? She now has the total block record in program history. What she meant to you when you've coached her throughout her career as a Beacon? Yeah,
I mean, it's a great accomplishment. It's a milestone. We kind of knew it was coming, but it just attributes to how hard she works. It's really she's a team player that works really hard every day, in and out, on and off the court, in the weight room, and I think it's something that she deserves, and it's something, like I said, we kind of saw coming, but her goals are more team-oriented and means something that she wasn't really looking for. She's really looking for getting those wins that matter later on in the season. So she's going to come back in, work hard every day to push for those goals.
And what do you look to do now in these last few conference games here in Little East play before you head out to Texas and then you sort of ramp things up for the conference tournament? What do you hope to get out of these final handful of conference games?
We just got to clean up our play. I mean, that's what we're going to work towards in practice. Today was a great win. It was great to kind of reach that milestone, but again, we got to clean up the play, a little less errors, so that when we do hit that conference tournament and playoffs, we're on a rise. We're going to clean it up and work on that this week.
All right, Coach Houlihan, thanks for the time and congrats on the win. All right, the Beacons take care of the Rhode Island College Anchor Women in 3 sets. We'll have more post-game coverage after this on the Beacons Broadcast Network. She's a transfer from the Community College of Rhode Island. Beacons extend the lead to 4, 6-4. Elliott Behind for Murphy.
When a player comes off, she'll bring them aside either down the line or right.
Murphy with a light tap over. They set up to block, but the kill going for the block. Cohen with the kill.
Are an even amount of conference teams. Terry Condon has always tried to schedule at a conference.
11 here in set 3. Cohen, get out of her. Resumes. Elliott leaves it for Cohen. Baker had it dumped off to Murphy, but hands. She fires. White couldn't get to it.
I got the presidential scholarship, which was huge for me.
I think there's more opportunities for academic scholarships in Division III.
I did receive academic scholarships. Just being involved on campus, being a leader, all those things combined kind of get me recognized. It's a great experience for me.
And we thank Coach Houlihan for his time. Beacon's co-head coach in his 8th season with the program. Beacons, again, clinch a share, at the very least, a share of the Little East Conference regular season title with a couple of more games left. We head to the final numbers from this one through all 3 sets. The Beacons really just dominated. Once set 2 got going, some sloppy play, as Coach Houlihan sort of alluded to. We'll take a look at some of those numbers now from those 3 sets and the victory. You can see the Beacons with 34 kills to just 19 for Rhode Island College, and the hit percentage is sort of right where you want it to be in that mid-30s category. And look at the block numbers, 8-1. Beacons really just dominated in all phases.
Yeah, you see UMass Boston, they had 1 block in the first set, as did Rhode Island College, 7 blocks the rest of the way. Too many errors, I think both coaches would say it, but the Beacons finished with 8 attack errors after putting up 4 in the first set. Rhode Island College, 19 kills, 19 attack errors. That is not the kind of ratio that you want 1-to-1, and that's why they hit 0 for the match.
Always about that ratio, and they just didn't have it tonight in this matchup.
Move along to the team leaders at this point.
Yeah, on both sides, I think that we saw Colleen Cohen really dominate in a lot of phases. Cohen with 12 kills, that hit percentage just over 61%. We saw Christine Elliott with a nice performance overall. So everyone was sort of dipped their toe in this win tonight for the Beacons.
Yeah, I mean, Julia Murphy, 8 kills, hit 504 solo blocks in this one. A very impressive performance. On the other side, Ward had 7 of the team's 19 kills, hit under 0 because of all those attack errors, but she had a pretty nice match. This Rhode Island College team certainly has some promise going forward, but just not enough experience this season to really compete with some of the bigger dogs.
And let's look ahead for the Beacons. We sort of previewed this with Coach Houlihan. You see these next couple of games coming up this weekend on the 21st and the 22nd. With a couple of games, Trinity, Amherst are on there, and some others to look out for is next Tuesday when Southern Maine visits the Beacons for the final home game of the season. That is in the regular season. The Beacons take on Southern Maine, which could be a big one if Southern Maine can take care of business the rest of the way in their schedule. That is also senior night for the Beacons volleyball team. Let's give a shout to the production team tonight for everyone's contributions. We get to Anthony Searles, Alex Soto, Josh Ruffin was also involved tonight, Roxanne Vento, Josh Lopez, Gigi Braga, and Taylor Paulina, and Seth Orinsky on the color commentating tonight. For everyone here with the Beacons Broadcast Network production crew, my name is Brendan Glasheen. We are closing up shop here inside the Clark Athletic Center. The Beacons take all 3 sets. They sweep Rhode Island College, and they earn a share of their 8th consecutive Little East regular season title, back in action at home next Tuesday night against Southern Maine. Thanks so much for joining us, and you watched tonight's broadcast of UMass Boston Volleyball on the Beacons Broadcast Network. Good night.